So, can you shed some light on how we as adults can deal with this kind of stress? Some simple habits, like you mentioned, we wake up with stress and again we go back to bed with the same thinking. Oh, I didn't do this today. I'm supposed to do this tomorrow. And the minute we wake up, our mind starts thinking about it the minute we open our eyes. So, can you give us some tips?
So basically now when we talk about stress, we are talking about a particular system in the human body called as the sympathetic system. So sympathetic system makes you active, sympathetic system makes you anxious. So activating the parasympathetic system, which is nothing but your air conditioner in the room. So when the room is heated up, you switch on the AC and the room starts cooling. So similarly, activating the parasympathetic system cools your whole body.
Okay.
So this can happen with simple deep breathing exercises.
Okay.
One simple exercise that I always suggest is the 4-7-8 technique, where you inhale for 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts, and exhale with your pursed lips. So
Okay.
something like,
All right. All right.
so 4 inhale, 7 hold, and 8 exhale. People like to do this when they are anxious, but what I suggest them is do it every day. So metaphorically, I keep saying, if you cannot remove 24 minutes out of your 24 hours for your health, then it's bad. So you need to be at least dedicating 20 to 30 minutes every day for your health. Unfortunately, what we see today is people like to work Monday to Friday rigorously, and and Saturday and Sunday they want to relax. That's not how the body is going to accept it.
Okay.
The body wants the working and the relaxing happening on the same day
Okay.
in that 24-hour cycle. So if you're working every day, make sure that you're working out also every day, make sure that you're relaxing also every day. So physical activity, mental activity, social activity, pleasurable activity, spiritual activity, all of them should happen in a single day.
On a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that's the reason why most of the adults are rather lazy when it comes to weekends, because they don't want to do anything? They like to just be in their own homes, or rather go out for a movie and not do any other
Right.
work, which you just mentioned is not the right way of taking a break. Dr. Virinchi, why don't you tell us one of the weirdest thing a adult has told you that they have dealt stress in this way?
So I remember there was this individual who had come to me with anxiety,
Okay.
and because of his anxiety, he would drink alcohol. So every time he had a performance, like go on a stage, give a presentation, he would consume alcohol.
Okay.
And the funny part was, he would come for therapy, and it was in the second session or third session I got to know that he was consuming alcohol to even come here because he had that anxiety. So to deal with that anxiety, he would drink alcohol and then come
And
for the
meet
therapy
you.
session.
Oh my God. Okay.
So this was very funny, but then we did try to explain him that it's not going to work this way. And he's doing great. He's doing great without the substance right now.
Have you ever met somebody who is or who gets emotionally attached to their therapist? How do you deal with the entire process?
Well, there is a scientific explanation for this, and the terminology is called as transference. So transference is when the client gets emotionally attached to the therapist, and they say counter transference, it's when the therapist gets emotionally attached to the client.
Okay.
And both are very bad for the whole growth of the brain. So one, it regularly happens because when you meet someone with an emotionally dependent personality, somebody having those traits, they get attached to the therapist very easily.
Okay.
But yes, one, scientifically we try to explain them that this is not a healthy thing. We try to draw those boundaries because the end goal is to make them independent of their mental health issues. So sometimes they get very annoyed, they get very upset about why we did not answer the call or why we did not reply to the message. But we try to explain them that, this should not be happening because that answer or the reassurance that they want from us should be coming from within. And that's the reason why we sometimes do not answer calls or messages. But yes, this regularly happens with therapy.
Right. Moving on to sleep crisis now. People say sleep is very important. I like to have my quality sleep, but at the same time, they binge watch Netflix till 3 a.m. So, do you think sleeping at one go, 1 to 8 hours, is needed? Because most of the people think sleep 8 hours is important. Now, I can take it in 3 hours gap, 4 hours gap, or 5 hours gap. So, can you talk about that?
Well, undoubtedly, sleep is one of the best medicines for the brain,
Okay.
and sleep continues to be one of the most important aspects of mental health. You could be doing everything possible, but just a bad night's sleep worsens your brain's health.
Okay.
And a lot of researchers say that the brain takes a lot of time, couple of days, to regain all that it has lost even with one bad night's sleep.
Okay.
So now basically what happens is every time you have a good night's sleep, there is a lot of wastes that is produced in the body being removed.
Okay.
So I say that sleep is like your housekeeping staff. It comes, cleans away all the waste materials and makes the brain fresh and clean.
Very well said.
Now, when somebody continues to have a bad night's sleep, all this waste is getting accumulated, which causes an inflammation in the brain. So it's something like there is one designated area in our homes where there is kitchen waste. Imagine if you don't clean it for 2 days, that area starts stinking. When you don't clean it for 4 days, not just that area, but the surrounding rooms also start stinking.
Correct.
And when you don't clean it for 7 to 10 days, the whole house is stinking. Similarly, when these wastes start accumulating in the brain, it slows the brain down. I always say when you have a good night's sleep, the chemicals moving in the brain are moving at a speed like how a vehicle passes on a highway. But now, when there is a lot of this accumulation and inflammation happening, the road which is supposed to be straight becomes this way. And now the speed comes down, the brain slows, and that is a very bad sign. And there are some recent studies which talk about how the brain eats itself
Okay.
to survive a bad night's sleep. So basically,
God.
when this continues, the brains are shrinking at a very young age. So 30s and 40s, the brain can start shrinking. Usually what should be happening post 70 or
At a very
75.
later age. Okay. So do you think 8 hours is a compulsion? What about the sleeping hours?
So, well, one, when it comes to the duration, 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 9 hours is what WHO also recommends. Some individuals can feel, well rested and feeling fresh after 6 hours. Some people might need 8 hours. The first thing I would tell people is stop wearing a smartwatch and keep calculating your sleep, because that's not, the right way. I think the best way to actually calculate your sleep is by yourself. When you wake up in the morning, if you're feeling fresh, that's great. Now coming to when you should be sleeping, there's again scientific evidence for it, because melatonin is a very important chemical that the brain needs to have a good night's sleep.
Okay.
Now melatonin is only produced between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
So now you need to finish your 8-hour sleep in this 11-hour span.
Okay.
So ideally sleeping around 9:30, 10 and waking around 5:30 is the best time, because post 6 o'clock, it is only the body resting but not the brain. So when individuals tell me that, okay, I had a party all night, so I slept at 5 a.m. and I woke up at 12 p.m., it's a very bad sleep. The brain has not rested enough. And that's the reason a lot of individuals know this. When they have a bad night's sleep, the next day, despite sleeping for 8 hours, in odd hours, you still feel very lethargic. You have a lot of sugar cravings. You're irritable. You're very slow, and you develop some muscle cramps. All of this is happening because the quality of the sleep has been very bad.
What schedule do you follow?
I sleep by 9:30, 10. All thanks to DPS. After my daughter coming to DPS, because her school starts at 8 o'clock, so we wake her up by 6:30. So I like to wake up 1 hour before her, so that I can give some time for myself.
Yourself. Correct.
So I try to sleep by 9:30, 10 now, and I'm waking up by 5:30.